Hello there, it's Mir again. This time we're talking about V-Triggers. More specifically, some of the new V-Triggers that were added with Arcade Edition. While most of them are actually viable alternatives to the original V-Triggers, some have proven to be a little bit lackluster. Is there any way to improve them and make them more viable? That's the question I'm asking today. I guess I should make a small disclaimer first. I'm not going to talk about every V-Trigger, just of a few that seem to be the weakest of the bunch. You guys can always continue the discussion about other V-Triggers in the comments below. So let's get into it. The first V-Trigger we're going to discuss is JURI'S new V-Trigger 2, Feng Shui Engine Beta. This 2-bar V-Trigger creates an aura around JURI'S feet that drains the opponent's EX meter. It also hits the opponent with activated close and creates a vacuum effect that allows her to extend combos, by basically negating the pushback before the V-Trigger activation. Now, while this sounds all very nice, it also has lots of limitations. First of all, it only works if you're very close to the opponent, as they have to stand inside this whirling cloud to be affected in the first place. The effect doesn't take place when JURI or the other character are in the air, and it also doesn't work if any of the two characters are knocked down. Furthermore, when JURI is getting hit, the effect stops as well. Luckily enough, you still get to drain your opponent's meter when you or your opponent are blocking, and most importantly, it keeps working when you are hitting them during a combo. The biggest issue with this V-Trigger is that it doesn't drain meter nearly as fast as you wish it did. With its many limitations, it's not that scary overall. It's kinda hard to maintain pressure as JURI, especially because of the pushback of her normals on hit and block. Even though her walk speed can make up for it, you always risk getting interrupted and having the situation turn around against you instead. Since you gain EX gauge when you get hit or block in SFV, if you're getting comboed by JURI during V-Trigger 2, the amount of meter you end up losing to her V-Trigger is roughly the same that you gain by getting hit in the first place. While this is still advantageous for JURI, it isn't very dangerous for the defending character. Even though V-Trigger 2 moves your opponent close to you when activated during a combo, the JURI universal scaling to V-Trigger activation combos really lowers the damage of your conversions, especially considering that the hit of the V-Trigger itself is kinda towards the combo scaling. A way to improve this V-Trigger would be to increase the rate at which JURI drains his opponent's meter, making so they actually have way less meter than they started with at the end of combos, but to make it last longer since it's relatively hard for JURI to keep the pressure on. Of course, buffing JURI's pushback on her normals could be another fix that would benefit both the V-Trigger and the character as a whole. Next, let's move on to Ken's Shinryuken. Again, a 2-bar V-Trigger, it gives Ken the ability to perform his Shinryuken, which can be matched if it hits the opponent to increase the number of hits and the damage it deals. Although it may look like something you could use as an anti-air, it unfortunately isn't, as there is no invincibility on it at all, and it's very possible you'll get a trade or even get beat cleanly. You're better off using a normal DP and then cancel that into V-Trigger for additional damage. Luckily enough, this also means that it isn't crush counterable in recovery like a normal Shoryuken, making it somewhat safer, although your opponent still has a very long time to react and punish you. This move has a pretty large horizontal hitbox, and it will vacuum you in if you manage to hit someone with it, so it can catch the recovery with a low poke or the like and convert it to damage. Unfortunately, being such a big whiff, if you don't react in time or fail to read your opponent, the consequences could be disastrous. Of course, you can't even cancel unsafe moves with V-Trigger to make them safe on block, as the V-Trigger itself is not safe at all. This naturally brings us to the conclusion that you want to use Shinryuken in combos. Again, the universal V-Trigger activation scaling hurts the damage potential of your conversions into V-Trigger 2. While it is pretty consistent in the corner, it is actually kinda hard to convert into anything that's not a critical art mid-screen, as it requires specific combo starters to get the right juggle to combo afterwards. Even though Shinryuken can be used multiple times if you don't mash it, it is necessary to do so to get reliable juggles, which again limits its usefulness as a combo tool. Overall, Ken's V-Trgger 2 is pretty weak when compared to his other V-Trgger, Heat Rush. Even though Heat Rush is a 3-bar V-Trgger, the comeback potential it offers is hard to ignore, as well as making all of your conversions way more powerful. Shinryuken adds too little damage to combos and its juggles are way too inconsistent to make it worth choosing. A good way to buff this V-Trgger would be to allow Ken to reliably juggle off of a fully mashed version of Shinryuken even mid-screen without having to spend super, while at the same time adding the ability to combo after a non-mashed or partially mashed version during specific juggle scenarios, for example after cancelling a successful anti-air DP into V-Trgger 2. This would make it more valuable if you ever decided to save the remaining uses of your V-Trgger by not mashing it during the original activation. The last one for today is ZEKU'S V-Trgger 2. A single-use 2-bar V-Trgger, it makes Zeku perform a DP looking move which is the same in both forms. If the move connects, it converts into damage and makes Zeku switch to the other form automatically. You can also hold forward during the activation to have it switch sides. Unlike Shinryuken, this move has actual upper body invincibility, making it useful as an anti-air as well as a combo ender. Unfortunately, it also means it's crush countable on recovery, and since it's also massively unsafe on block, a poorly timed anti-air or a combo drop could easily ruin your day. It is important to note that this move is not fully invincible, if not for the universal one frame of invincibility that every V-Trgger activation gets on startup, and as such can't be used as a reversal reliably. If done too early or at the wrong angle, the move can whiff entirely by going under jump-ins, making it punishable on landing. This new V-Trgger gives young Zeku a reliable anti-air and can be used as a combo enter to add more damage to your conversions. On the flip side, just like Ken's Shinryuken, you can't use it to make moves safe, especially because it's crush counterable on recovery, and because of the scaling to V-Trgger activation combos, the damage isn't too impressive either. Even though ZEKU'S V-Trgger 1 is not a very powerful V-Trgger in its own right, it lets you keep the offense going by allowing you to make moves safe, like for example young Zeku's slide, up to 2 times, because of the V-Trgger activation itself and then the dash cancel that comes available afterwards. It also makes it possible to easily hit confirm into super, something that his V-Trgger 2 is completely unable to do since it consumes all of the remaining juggle potential in the combo. Possible changes to this V-Trgger would include the ability to juggle into critical art, if not even other moves when in the corner, or at least raise the damage of the V-Trgger itself to make the conversions into it more meaningful. Furthermore, considering that it's already crash counterable on recovery, it could benefit from a few frames of true invulnerability, so it can be used to cover another one of young Zeku's weaknesses, which is the lack of a fully invincible reversal. I know that there are some other V-Triggers that people are not very happy with and can be considered underpowered, but that will be a topic for another day. Meanwhile, make sure to let me know in the comments down below what you think about these V-Triggers and your ideas on how to fix them. As always, like, favorite and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.